Have you ever dated someone who seemed perfect on paper, confident, intelligent, independent, but somehow you always felt like they were holding something back? You could be physically close, texting daily, spending weekends together, but emotionally, they remained an enigma. If that resonates, you might be dating someone with a dismissive, avoidant attachment style. In this video, we'll walk through 6 major signs you're dating a dismissive avoidant. Let's get into it. The first sign you're dating a dismissive avoidant is they consistently keep you at a distance. Avoidants are pros at creating space, not just physically, but emotionally. You'll notice that every time things start to feel close or intimate, they subtly pull away. They might suddenly become busy, cancel plans more frequently, or seem less available. This pattern isn't just coincidence, it's a protective instinct. Emotional closeness triggers discomfort for dismissive avoidants because they fear losing their autonomy. As a result, they keep just enough space between you and them to avoid feeling engulfed. It can feel like trying to hug someone through glass. Your efforts are real, but you keep hitting an invisible barrier. The more you try to get close, the more they subtly move away. And yet, when you try to pull back, that's when they suddenly show interest again, just enough to keep the cycle going. The second sign you're dating a dismissive avoidant is they struggle deeply with vulnerability. A dismissive avoidant might share facts about their life, even painful past events, but they avoid sharing their present emotional reality. You'll rarely hear phrases like, "I'm scared," "I miss you," or "I need you." In fact, they often act as though needing anyone is a flaw. This comes from early conditioning. Many avoidants grew up in environments where showing emotion led to rejection or criticism. As a result, they've learned to suppress feelings and maintain emotional control. You may find that trying to connect emotionally feels like trying to unlock a door without the key. When you finally open up, instead of leaning in, they might emotionally freeze or minimize what you said. And this silence, this lack of emotional reciprocity, can start to feel like slow, invisible abandonment. The third sign you're dating a dismissive avoidant is they prioritize independence over connection. It's one thing to value independence, but avoidants take it to an extreme. You'll notice they often choose solo activities, stick to rigid routines, or pull away during emotional moments, all in the name of needing space. While that might sound reasonable, in practice it often means they avoid showing up in emotionally meaningful ways. You may find yourself initiating most conversations, planning time together, or expressing feelings while they seem emotionally absent or aloof. You're building a relationship with someone who insists on living like an island. Their hyper-independence isn't strength. It's self-protection dressed up as self-sufficiency. And over time, their "I don't need anyone" attitude makes you question whether your needs even matter in the relationship. The fourth sign you're dating a dismissive avoidant is they shut down during conflict. Conflict, even mild disagreement, feels like a threat to an avoidant partner. Instead of engaging, they may retreat, emotionally or physically. You bring up a concern, and suddenly they're quiet, distracted, or changing the subject. They might say, "I don't want to fight," or "let's just drop it," but they never return to the conversation. This isn't about peacekeeping. It's emotional avoidance. The dismissive avoidant fears the intensity of emotional confrontation, so they disappear into silence. And that silence can feel like emotional punishment. It leaves you holding the weight of the issue alone. It's like trying to repair a bridge that only one of you is willing to walk across. You begin to feel like peace only exists when you stay quiet, which slowly erodes your own voice and self-worth. The fifth sign you're dating a dismissive avoidant is they seem calm, but you rarely feel emotionally connected. Dismissive avoidants are often cool under pressure. They don't get overly emotional, they seem grounded, and they may even pride themselves on being low drama. But this calm is often emotional detachment in disguise. You might notice they rarely check in on your feelings, forget emotionally significant details, or stay quiet during important moments. You feel like you're doing all the emotional connecting, and they're watching from a distance. Their stillness isn't always peace. It can be a void. You're sharing your heart, but they're staying behind a wall. And over time, that quiet gap between you two begins to feel less like a pause and more like a canyon, wide, silent, and unbridgeable. The sixth sign you're dating a dismissive avoidant is you feel emotionally starved, but still can't walk away. This is perhaps the most painful part. Even though your needs aren't being met, even though you feel ignored or unseen, you keep hoping for more. That's because dismissive avoidants create a confusing push-pull dynamic. They give just enough to keep you invested, but not enough to feel safe. You might think, if I'm just more patient, more understanding, maybe they'll open up. This emotional starvation mixed with occasional closeness creates something like a trauma bond, keeping you hooked on the idea of potential instead of reality. You start to mistake emotional neglect for emotional maturity, and you blame yourself for wanting more, when in truth, your needs are valid. They're just unmet. Love should nourish you, not deplete you. If these signs hit close to home, take a moment to breathe. Recognizing you're in a relationship with a dismissive avoidant isn't about blaming them or blaming yourself. It's about understanding the emotional reality you've been living in and finally giving yourself permission to stop waiting for crumbs when you deserve a feast. You don't have to beg for intimacy, decode silence, or constantly earn love that should be freely given. The truth is, love doesn't have to be this confusing. Healthy connection feels safe, mutual, and emotionally present, not like a riddle you're trying to solve. So ask yourself, are you feeling seen, heard, held emotionally? Or are you clinging to potential, hoping one day they'll finally let you in? You have the power to choose relationships where closeness isn't feared, but welcomed. Where your needs are not a burden, but a bridge. And remember, sometimes walking away from emotional unavailability is the first step toward real, healing love. If this video brought you clarity, give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more content that honors your emotional truth. You deserve a connection where love isn't distant, where it's real,